Warning. This podcast contains spoilers.
Third World Cinema Club.
Anyways, go na. Ano,
Yan.
Jobs?
So,
Go na.
let's move on to the next film. I Get So Sad Sometimes by Tristan
Oh,
Perez.
masad
Ayan.
din.
So it's about this kid who he has a relationship with this older guy and it's purely online, and the older guy doesn't want to show his face, and the kid's longing for something kind of abstract, something distant, and yun. Anyway,
Mm-mm.
stuff happens. He gets sad basically.
Yes.
But
He
only
gets so sad.
sometimes.
But only sometimes.
So-so.
Sometimes he's happy.
Is he though?
Is he though? And that's the question. So, what do you guys think about it? I Get So Sad Sometimes. Your thoughts?
This is Jason's favorite, right? This is your
Yeah.
favorite, Jason?
Sige, Jason, ikaw.
Or na?
If you're going to ask me what's my best film, it's going to be It's Raining Frogs Outside.
Okay.
If you're going to ask me, like, as a jury member, what I would have awarded, like, best film, it would have been this.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is, I know, controversial yun. Nakita ko yung list ninyo before ako.
I haven't seen it.
Oo. Kasi the main criticism about it is that it's been told before. You get what I mean?
Mhm.
Which is, I understand that as well. But I just think that this was, I don't really know Tristan. Like, in interview ko siya after watching this, pero it was the one kasi na when I watched the QC shorts, the whole section, I couldn't stop parang feeling myself tugged towards the film. Obviously, maybe it's because I'm gay, even if I didn't have the same experience as. But there's just all three characters kasi to me like had character arcs. It's very clear na this is a love triangle that will not go anywhere. Ang ganda nung idea, ang ganda nung mixing in ng Japanese coming of age film references, Japanese romance films, obviously the reference to Tokyo Tower at
Yeah.
the end. And parang the way I kind of, hindi ko siya nasulat sa review ko, which is I'm kind of sad about that. Pero it kind of reminds me of Orpheus and Eurydice in a sense na, di ba si Orpheus, pag tumalikod siya, nawawala yung lover niya.
Yeah.
Here, by turning around, nakikita niya yung lover niya. Right? Places himself in the gaze of the lover, who is now gone. Right? And I really like that idea of the circularity then of the narrative kasi. Diba? And kasi yung people keep saying na parang I get so sad sometimes. They focus on the sad. They think that the protagonist is parang perpetually sad all the time.
Mhm.
But in reality, I think yung emphasis doon is sometimes.
Yeah, the sometimes.
Diba? Parang it's the sometimes. Like literally it's the sometimes. Kasi nga, the point is that yung pain na nararanasan niya right now is temporary. Diba? And he doesn't cry in the end. Diba? Parang may flicker of it, but then wala yung ganon. And I just think that it's like a very sensitively made, very remarkable coming of age film na it could have gone wrong in so many ways.
Mhm.
But for me, it didn't, and I think it executes what it wants to say very clearly, arguably clearer than a lot of the others.
Okay.
Pero again, like I know people won't like it because they think that it's what do people compare it to?
Sad boy.
Like it's a
type of film.
sad boy type of film. Also, maybe sad boy rin lang ako. I accept that. Pero I think that if this was the only film na pinakita sa QC shorts, I would have been fine watching it. Yun yung thing. Parang, I don't know if I feel the same way about everything in the selection. Does that make sense? Weird. Pero I don't know. Like, other people will find it repetitive. Other people will find it also didactic, maybe even derivative. Pero parang for me, it's not. Like, it's very...
Ayun.
Marami pa akong other things, pero like, I would love to hear why people didn't like it. That's actually so interesting to me. Parang,
Yeah.
di ba? Oo.
I actually liked it. I just thought it accurately depicted, how it feels sometimes. Emphasis on sometimes, sabi ni Jason.
Sorry, sobrang... Anyway, okay.
But yeah, it was just so accurate in its, because there are no words, basically, right? Sometimes it's just a feeling, and I feel like the way that it that feeling is magnified visually is interesting din to me, or even though as people claim it might be a bit derivative na, because this has been told over and over, but maybe there's a reason why it's being told still, because it exists, and sometimes it hits different, right? So I really like, I really didn't mind if it was a story that has been told before, if it's told well, and I'm of the opinion that it is told well here, at least visually for me, because the way that Tristan frames this idea of isolation, hindi lang siya in queer relationships, natatouch on, hindi lang queer relationships yung natatouch on niya. The idea of like of sadness still sort of taking over unceremoniously, kahit na we're living in a time of constant excess and connectivity, is a good jumping off point na discussion on our relationship with the virtual world, right? Because I feel like it's one side thing that the film is talking about. Sabi ko sa review ko na hindi ko pa napapublish, sabi ko ang pinaka-interesting bit sa akin is that it shows two kinds of ghosting, one in the chatterbait kind of way, and another in you shut out people who actually love you kind of way. So I find it really interesting in the way it uses technology as sort of deterrent to making actual connections, in helping you make actual connections, and also deterring you from making connections with people around you. So yeah, it was just an interest. It was a little bit derivative, if we want to say that, but I feel like it does open up discussions about other things as well, especially during the pandemic, where we really had no choice but to rely on technology.
Actually, for me, sobrang yung nangibabaw is not the queer story. Weird, ano? Like, what the fuck? Like, that's the whole thing. It's actually the provincial story. Like, yung na nasa probinsya siya, tas hindi siya makapuntang Cagayan de Oro. I mean, yung last moments, di ba sinasabi sa kanya na parang walang buhay dyan. Lumipat ka na dito. Kasi it shows him traveling, but it never shows him getting there. You know, and it just shows him coming back home. And it's never really about that relationship. It's more of about how we kind of tether ourselves to things. Diba? We tether ourselves to online interactions, to relationships, to places, pero we don't actually kind of find grounding for ourselves. And I don't know, maybe it's also resonant for people who are at that stage in their life. You know, I don't think it's just about the sad boy part. I think it's also about the existential crisis part, the quarter life crisis part, the hindi ko alam kung makakalabas tayong pandemya part. Yeah, pero I don't. Well, what about the others? Like, what did you think? Like,
ikaw muna, John or Jim. Listen muna ako. Pero may sasabihin mo.
Yeah, siguro ako na lang muna. Yeah, out of all of the shorts sa QC shorts, I think I watched this one the most times. Kasi, well, for one, it's the first short of the lineup. Then, because I was trying to understand it din from, I guess, from my perspective. Para I knew then that this was the kind of film that's, para ako, in this case, I'm not the target audience for this film. Pero yeah, I wanted to understand it. And when I was reading din Emil Hofileña's parang review of this film, it's a very shy film, no? There's a sense of hesitancy, not just in the ano, parang in showing faces din. In trying to
yung kung paano siya nag-segment ng
yeah.
mismo.
Like it's parang scene in trying to show your feelings, in trying to say who you really are. Parang ganon. I appreciate the aesthetic din naman. Pero yun nga. Yeah, I guess siguro it's because then of yung background na parang recently I watched a lot of films like this, which is why it didn't register as highly to me when I first watched it the first 2 times. Pero it's not a bad film. It's actually a good film. I think it's a good film. Parang all of the films, in my opinion, all of the films in Masa QC shorts have at least parang some sort of merit to them. And I would definitely watch this again naman. Parang I don't hate it. Yun. I mean, yeah. I don't hate it. Not it's not
Tumatawa tayo. This is similar to what you guys were saying. I mean, we're all communicating in one place, pero there's still that kind of mystery in it na, uy, ba't kasi sila tumatawa, no? If people listen to this. Pero syempre ako, di rin ako yung target market. Pero like what I said sa tweet ko about this one, and sa review din na sinusunod ko about it, I agree with you, John, kasi I've seen this one many times kasi ito nga yung una. Funny part lang din nung pinanood ko sa KTX, sabi nag-picture ako, yung pamangkin ko yung nag-picture for me, may ungol part. Tapos parang,
ako rin, nagulat din ako dun, Ses.
Oo, sabi ko, smile ka. Ang ganda pa ng smile ko. Yes. Tapos parang, after ng picture, teka, re-rewind ko lang kasi manonood na ako. Ganyan. Sa TV ko pa siya pinapanood. Tapos parang, oh my God, not for kids. Gano'n ko. Kasi yung pamangkin ko, bakit? What's not for kids doon? Sabi niya. Naglalaro lang sila ng ML. Di ba parang ML, tapos cut, ML, cut, tapos ML. Tapos parang, no, it's not for kids. Anyways, so, for me, having seen a lot of, yes, the chatterbat. So having seen a lot of queer cinema, I like it. Now this is for me, this is like the different, the younger way of showing or showing of or portraying of queer films. Parang hindi siya yung, alam mo, you'd see the mom, you'd see the classmates, they know na queer ka, pero they're not like, bakla ka? Hindi sila ganun eh. But they're like, hindi, parang they already have that acceptance in themselves na malulungkot ka lang. By the way, I like this film. It's not one of my worst films for this list. The only reason why it's not as high as the first is because feeling ko kasi I'm not the market for it. But I still appreciated that they were able to say, or he was able to showcase a film like this na nagustuhan ko in a way na aesthetic niya, and then yung paggamit niya ng music, na parang the first few minutes of the film wala siyang music at all. Na ang music maliban sa tsuktsakan part and yung sa conversations nila na muted din kasi mostly chat lang siya eh, 'di ba? Parang tas biglang mabubuhayan ka in the middle na okay, this is young love, this is and akakibat ng young love are the unexpected moments in between, and at the same time yung mga hindi na meet na expectations. So for me, I think the word for me when I see this film is expectations. My expectations were met. Unfortunately, kay Koyang Bida, hindi na meet. So, I feel sad for him na ganun yung nangyari and ganun yung outcome. And then at the same time, the world that they live in, as the struggles of being in the LGBTQ++ community is that they're trying to meet this sort of expectation from a community at the same time of themselves na I how do I accept myself? How can this community accept myself as well? How does the world accept me? Parang ganun. So, ayun. Kaya siguro, actually, ito talaga, yung una kong pinanood pa lang siya, sabi ko, may mapapanalunan to. Either drive your sensitivity, or maybe it has a chance to get the Pylon Award. So, yun. So, for me, actually, mas gusto ko na ito yung opening film, kahit na may ganung part sa umpisa. Kasi, siya parang it introduces you to a new world na, a new kind of cinema, charot. And a new kind of world na parang, okay, ito na yung nangyayari sa mundo. People are now more accepting, but at the same time, some are also not accepting. So, yun. Kaya parang ako, same with It's Raining Frogs Outside, na parang ang tapang naman ng paggawa nito. Kasi, alam mo yun, kung medyo tsakarat lang yung pagkakagawa na parang may ganun silang dilemma, parang there's two outcomes that you could get from it. Either mababash ka, not just by the people within the community you're trying to serve or you're trying to support, but even those who hate it. Parang bibigyan mo pa sila ng power, parang ganun. So I was really happy na this one was really made beautifully. Tsaka yun nga, even if it's something that you've already seen with other queer films na para siyang coming of age pero hindi siya same backdrop na parang people are surprised you're gay or something. Alam mo, parang siya it's very, very timely representation of time na pinipresent. So, I like it. Yun lang.
Alright. Jim? Ikaw last.
Short lang din. Nagustuhan ko naman yung itong it gets so sad sometimes. And this is just an assumption. Maybe this was some sort of Tristan Perez experience na translated well to the screen, ganon. I got the point na madami na tayong napanood na queer films like this, no? Siguro another concern ko sa film kasi was yung katulad kasi sa Call Me By Your Name, 'di ba? Because yung character dito is a high school student, 'di ba? So, and then nagkaroon kasi siya ng relationship although online, 'di ba? So parang medyo ako doon, parang may part na parang ginugroom kasi yung ganung part. Kaso papasok na naman tayo dun sa part na consent pwede naman for dito sa atin kasi is mababa ang age ng consent, 12 years old, ganun. And for me, it's relatable because I'm gay. Kaya, nagigets ko yung film, diba? So, ayun, yun lang. Maikli lang naman.
Alright.
May nagsabi na, sorry, mabilis lang.
Go, Jason.
May nagsabi na parang they didn't fully understand kung bakit parang hindi, and this is someone outside, na parang may nagsabi na parang hindi niya masyadong naintindihan yung milieu ni Jake, yung sa I Get So Sad Sometimes. And hindi niya masyadong naintindihan yung parang reasons for why he would be sad. Parang ganun. Which I think naman are sensible criticisms. But I think na parang the sadness is kind of like you kind of fall into it without reason. Parang ganun. At least that's how I take it. Although, yeah. Anyway, sorry, John, na-excite na ako for yung last two. Parang na-excite na talaga ako. Shit.
Bakbakan na ba?
Hindi. As in, excited lang ako makinig. I love learning. I love listening to people.
I love it too, Jason.
Hindi as in, no shade. Like, as in, yeah.
So, the next film, the next film is by Jack Escasa. It's called Skylab. Wow. Sis, talaga film. Number 5 ang Skylab. Wow, number 5. Hindi number 6, sis. Hindi na.
Hindi. Sige.
Sabay ka dun dyan no?
Hindi number 6.
Oh, sige, ganito.
Bakit
Ano,
kaya? Ano ba yung film na
Oo.
susunod? Ano
AKA
yun?
The Breakfast Club.
tapakan pala eh. O sige, nahamon ko kayo. Bakit ayaw nyo dito? Oh.
So it's
Joke
a
lang.
film based on a short story. It's about a film during so the Marcos years. And it's about the time when Skylab fell to the earth. I think this was, di ba parang intentional yung paghulog ng Skylab to the earth?
Mm.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Grabe naman,
Anyway.
wala talaga kang interest sa ano. Joke lang.
Anyway, Skylab was So Skylab was falling to the earth. Everyone was thinking it's the end of the world, but there were other more sinister things that signified a greater threat. Kumbaga, yeah. Let's just leave it at that. So, Skylab was,
John?
yeah, Skylab, man. It entered in 1979. Yeah, and this film felt like it was made in 1979. You know, those fade to black cuts. It's a very contained film. I mean, it has a good message. It means well.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, it means well. Like, never forget. That's very important, especially now. And yeah.
Okay. So, I guess,
Says your thoughts on Skylab, your fifth
Ayan na.
favorite film.
May-enter na si Seth. Char.
Okay.
Yung may
So,
stress talaga dun sa fifth.
Your fifth favorite
Okay.
film.
Okay, so, ayun na. If we're gonna like divide the joke lang. Parang siya. Okay, so, okay naman siya. It's just that, siya, for me, ang nag-deliver naman sa akin dito sa film, to make it not my worst, but not also my very best, is that, na-amaze ako na, okay, tinakal nila yung other absurdities ng martial law, like, banning si Voltes 5, tapos nga, yung parang tinatry tanggalin sa psyche ng mga tao na, there are other forces that's taking us out of the liberties of being free, which is yung martial law, ganyan, by introducing this kind of like Skylab thing. Siguro lang ako, meron lang akong na-appreciate ko naman yung effort nila to like imitate or mimic films that portrayed freedom as a nuisance, pero actually it's a good way of expressing oneself, which is si 400 Blows, ganyan. Parang feeling ko yun yung mga inspiration niya. So, kaso, it felt as if yung message niya, ito talaga yung parang been there, done that na. Parang ganun. Tapos at the same time, yun nga, may mga little inconsistencies siya na parang could have been omitted, could have been replaced by something else din naman. So, yun. So, I guess, cohesive siya. It tried to be cohesive. It's just that, yun, kung ano yung mga message, kung ano yung gusto niyang i-try na portray na message, parang na hindi siya ganun ka na planchado. Pero ako, nagustuhan ko lang yung performances. Kahit pa paano, they tried their best naman to give justice to the film na, okay, we're trying to send this message out na, about the Voltes 5 thing na bakit binaban nila si Voltes 5? Si Voltes 5 is about, and then you realize, pala si Voltes 5 was about, anti-oligarchs, ganyan, and then the very people who are trying to take it out of history are like oligarchs, ganun. Pero I don't know if the film was trying to remind us of this because they forgot that people forgot about it, or parang ganun. Yun yung problem niya with me. Na parang, pero I didn't I wasn't so sure if it was gonna be like the worst, but for me kasi yung next one, yun talaga yung parang hindi ko talaga siya masyadong naintindihan. Hindi siya masyadong nag-click sa akin na, okay,
Away na,
I've
princess.
seen this
Away.
before. Umiikot yung mata. I've seen this before. Gano'n. Joke lang. So, yun. O sige, kayo naman, anong naisip nyo
Sige, ako,
about Henry?
mabilis lang ako. So I feel like others have like more
More,
to say. I'm just gonna come out and say it. This is my least favorite out of the entire thing, which is weird to say because like there's a lot of talent behind this, especially is it Can or Kevin?
I think he did the music. Yeah.
Yeah, is it Kevin or Can? How do you guys read that?
He allows us to call him Kevin.
Kevin.
Yeah, Calvin.
Load Kevin. All right. But yeah, there's so much talent behind this. Obviously, Chuck is one of the older directors, diba, in this ensemble. I feel yung pinaka main criticism ko lang sa kanya is I feel like some of the things about ML, not for everyone listening, that's not the phenomenal the mobile game phenom that is Mobile Legends by Tencent. But I feel as though it treads a little bit too close to being a bit didactic about the martial law stuff, without ever really touching on the important stuff like yun, parang how misinformation and revisionism ng kasaysayan. I feel like in many ways this is a bit of an incomplete film, which is a bummer because I feel like if it had more time in the oven, I think this would have been a more nuanced story. Especially it's using kids as a jumping off point in the discussion of the subject at hand. I feel like kids are always great characters to do that. Like I'm thinking Stephen King just because I've listened to a podcast with Guillermo del Toro speaking about Stephen King just this morning. But yeah, I feel like this needed the screenplay. Actually, I felt like needed a few more rounds of revisions for things to actually click, because in its current state I feel like it pales in comparison with actually all of the screenplays in the lineup. I'm so sorry, don't come for me. I'll be furrowing down my rock like Patrick Star. That's it for me. Thanks.
Ayun. Jim, your thoughts on Skylab?
For me, old-fashioned yung style ng filmmaking, and ako lang naman ha. Baka kasi hindi sa iba. Parang ilang beses na rin ako nakapanood kasi ng mga ganitong like may martial law themed films, no. So parang wala na siyang bagong ino-offer. Yun yung naramdaman ko with the film. Ano pa ba? Well, the performances are great. Yun lang. Sorry. Kasi sorry, wala akong
Sorry ka na.
Oo.
It's a film. It is a film. Yeah, that's my thoughts about it. It's a film. And
it's a film, and I'm at peace with that.
I'm at peace with the fact that it's a film.
Uy, hindi porket number 5. Na favorite number ko si 5, pero doesn't mean this is like my favorite.
Yeah, did you guys do a disclaimer that this lineup is like stacked? It's filled with great films.
It's filled with great films.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. Game. Ay nako yung mga nyo.
Jason, your thoughts on Skylab?
I'm going to preface this by saying that I might be considered mean for what I say. But yeah, okay. My main problem kasi with Skylab, and I will try to substantiate my claims of my thoughts about Skylab. The Skylab is the one that I didn't like. Like I flat out, I didn't like it. I thought that it underestimates its audience who already knows about martial law, and about the importance of the film, of the event in Philippine history. I think it underestimates that. I think that visually, the narrative, the treatment of the film does not keep up with the interesting narrative. Actually, baliktad kami ni Arman, I actually think that narratively, the film is okay. Like if you look at the screenplay, okay siya. But then how it's treated visually is very disinteresting. In a sense na Skylab is about, so when I watched the film, my initial reaction was, what did I watch? Like, it was clear that it was about awakening to the violence of martial law as a child. Like that is very clear. But then the narrative had so much room. The story had so much room to explore so many other things. And so I read Sayan Abad Hugo's initial text, which is available online if you want to read it. And I thought na ang daming humor in the story, ang daming youthfulness. It's so youthful, it's so humorous, it's so actually where it kind of reading the text kind of opens me up to realizing where the film kind of fails for me. And yes, I'm using the word fails. Is because for the Skylab is the first symptom of the deterioration of childhood, right? But throughout, it kind of, you have to construct that world of youthfulness para when it breaks with the final phone call, it's devastating and it's unexpected. Kasi akala mo haka-haka lang siya, yun pala totoo, but it's in a different form. So it's a sort of this national psyche, national traumatic psyche making its way into childhood, right? Packaged through symptoms that even children see. And nandun yun sa text ni Sayan Abad Hugo. I don't think it's in Chuck Escasa's version. Even if the scenes are almost directly lifted from the film, except for I think one scene wherein pinakita yung stack of chairs with yung Marcos writing on it. I think that it, and the fact that it kind of fails to translate what is in the original text into the film is, I think, symptomatic even by watching just the film itself, because obviously people might criticize me na maybe you're just holding the film up to a higher standard compared to the source text, or maybe I'm assessing it in comparison to other martial law films or anti-Marcos films or whatever. I don't think I am. I genuinely just, if you put it in a vacuum, I don't think it necessarily works. And if you put it in the larger scheme of like Philippine films that have tackled this kind of issue, I think it's not really as interesting. I think one of the major things na mali ng film is by putting Dylan Talon as the lead, not because he's not talented, but because the character Tonton isn't supposed to be the central person of the narrative. It's supposed to be Marty, yung best friend niya, sa Alexis Negrin. Yeah. Right? Na nakikita niya na weird yung behavior ni Marty, pero akala lang niya it's just a normal day. So that yung latter part of the film, when it shifts to actually focusing on Marty, it doesn't make sense. Because the original text focuses on Marty all throughout. Watching his parang passive observer yung character na Marty in the story, and yung leaving of a friend is what awakens him to adolescence, to the violence of the martial law, to the dissolution of this perfect utopia that is middle class upbringing in a private school, for example, and all of those things. And makikita mo na naka-embed na yun dun sa structures naturally, yung corporal punishment and all of that, yung posters ni Ferdinand Marcos. I just think it really underestimates its audience, and it makes the mistake of making the person who leaves the one that is the center of the narrative versus kung sino yung iiwan. So wala tayong emotional investment in the character na iniwan, right? So I think this is a film I would not want to watch again. sorry to everyone involved. Although I do think that Dylan Talon and everyone like put their best foot forward into this. I just was really hoping for something in this, and I watched it a bunch of times, and I just couldn't find it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, pero yeah, nasa review ko yun. So like, I'm really sorry. Yun.
Jason, did you also
but-
watch this 5 times?
Yes, because I'm
Let's go.
fair. If I do praise something, I really love Kavan's score. I think there are just some things that are missed opportunities. Like it focuses on the teacher hitting his hand versus if you just place the camera in the perspective of the teacher, tapos pinapakitang nag-flinch yung class that's half empty, that would have been a far more effective image.
Agree.
For example,
Yeah.
diba? Na parang, corporeal punishment. Pero bakit wala yung tao? Oh, it's because of the Skylab. So you'd think, parang ginagaslight ka into thinking na parang, hindi, mahulog talaga yung Skylab. And then you realize na for the Filipinos, nahulog na yung Skylab. It's the martial law. Right? Yun naman yung point ng text. So, yun. I just don't think it creates enough of a world
Yeah.
for it to dismantle in that final scene. And because it doesn't do that, if there's no bubble bursting, then throughout the film, it's just saying the same.
Agree ako din, especially dun sa shifting of the perspective, because I understand that who is he, the what's his name,
Who?
Uh,
Si Marty?
yung, di ba, yung best friend, yung best friend na nawala, what's his name, what's his actual name?
Si Tonton.
Tonton.
That's his name, yeah.
Because
See, I know these details. I watched it a lot of times. Okay, like huwag niyo ako judge. Sinasubstantiate ko yung claims ko.
It was a bait. So, agree ako dun sa, especially dun sa part si Tonton, because when he disappeared into the picture, there was no emotional payoff as a viewer, because I didn't really live in the world of Marty as a character, because siya, yung release towards the end ay basically non-existent for me. Adding to this notion or feeling that I have that the film is incomplete. It needed a lot of narrative work, stuff like that. So yeah, it just didn't really amount to anything substantial, sadly, even though the message is clearly something that we need to keep on saying, right?
Yeah.
I just want to say, sorry ang dagal ko about this, pero parang alam ko na yung isa sa mga main criticisms sa akin about, voicing out these opinions is because, so ayaw mo lang siya because it's a martial law film. Parang no, I'm being critical about it because it's a film about martial law. Like, I understand the gravity of displaying these things, diba? Na parang it's an important event that really changed the fabric of our society as in the Philippines, diba? From the poorest of the poor to the middle class to the super upper class, diba? Parang there's so many imaginaries that are, at play. Tapos parang, and I'm only critiquing the film. Maybe I'm actually possibly critiquing it harder because it is tackling a very important topic. Pero I just don't think na it creates visually a narrative that is as interesting as the text and as the score. Parang, and this is the thing, the people that were making this are so talented. Part of me wishes nga na si Chuck Escasa, who according to IMDb has directed like a documentary. I wish mas may documentary feel yung film. If that makes sense? Like, basta there's something about the treatment of it that is just, it disservices the story, and that's so sad given how rich it is, and how, yeah, ayun, I don't know. Di ba ang Skylab pa was launched before the martial law, just as the martial law was beginning, and then it landed just as martial law was about to end. So ang ganda nung allegory, and parang it's just so many missed opportunities, and ayun, yeah. Sorry.
Ayun. So, okay. Any final thoughts? Anyone else about Skylab? Yeah, to be very honest, I really didn't like it either. No, it's okay. It's okay you didn't like the film. It's okay. um, yeah, ang dami nga niyang ang dami niyang parang gusto ko sabihin pagkukulang kumbaga in terms of how it managed how it managed to tell this story. Pero yun nga. So anyway, let's go on to Princess least favorite film. Which which is actually my favorite film of the of the whole bunch.
Eto na, mag-aaway. Oh my
First
God,
of
wait
all,
lang.
the audacity.
To each her own.
Awasil versus Kino, Dawn of Justice.
Wait lang, excited na ako kasi favorite ng iba tapos hate. Oh yes!
So anyway,
Kung nandito si Tristan, pinaka least favorite na si Mighty Robo V. Oh.
talaga ba?
Oo.
No. His
His
favorite
favorite
was Skylab.
Hindi, parang Skylab yata.
As a Skylab ba? Sino yung, may isa nag-vote out ng Mighty Robo V as their
Walang
Anyway.
least favorite na.
Wala.
I think. Let's
Check natin
double
later.
check.
Anyways.
Wala.
Kayo na lang. Sige. Why do you guys like Henry?
Sige ako. Tapos si Armando yung next. So, out of all the films, in my opinion, Skylab, Henry.
We stopped talking about that a while ago. Anyway, go.
Henry is the most parang carefully considered, in my opinion anyway. If you look at Kaj Palangka's previous film, Contestant Number 4, ang dami niyang na-express in terms of story sa tingin lang. Kasi tingin ng dalawang tao sa isa't isa, dalawang characters sa isa't isa. And dito sa Henry, talagang wala siyang walang, when I watched it the second, third time, walang tapon na scene para sa akin. Every shot na ginawa niya, it's parang very parang planado siya in the sense na it shows these parang two characters that are connecting to each other, and in the larger sense of things, there was Kaj Palangka also wrote something about yung documentary na Overseas, if you remember that, and I also remember that yung sinulat niya na yun when watching this film. It's a bit about how our bodies, our labor is commodified by yung mga boss, mga people there, mga capitalists, etc. na ginagamit yung katawan niya talaga for labor. And ultimately, when you're replaceable sa mata nila. And note nasa Henry, you don't see the faces of these employers. They're invisible. And these people are building a house. Ostensibly, the house belongs to the papagawa. You don't see them. This is a house they will never use. This is a house na hindi sila makakalapit, paalisin sila ng guard or whatever. But you see yung parang there is this parang unfairness from the top to the bottom. And because yun nga, these parang upper, lower, or lower middle class families na if the breadwinner gets injured, wala na lahat. Like in my practice as a doctor, I know a lot of families na yun nga, just one little medical emergency, wasak na yung finances ng pamilya. And this happened to this family actually. And yun nga, it's a fight against unfairness. You see a lot of this discrepancy between the upper and upper middle classes versus the working classes. Then from the little background details, yung mga tingin-tingin nila. And in the end, I guess spoiler alert then for Henry. Henry connects with this one worker who's also not being paid by the employer or underpaid siya. Basta na yung mga workers na lang mismo yung tumulong sa family ni Henry. Parang there's solidarity in that yung pagtulong nila sa isa't isa, because otherwise they cannot rely on the people that employ them. Parang they're just being exploited. And yun din na I think one of the reviews on Letterboxd, I think it's also Emil who wrote then about the use of plants in the narrative kasi 'di ba may parang plant si Henry, yung family niya na tinatry i-grow, and despite adverse conditions it grows anyway. Parang through the solidarity that workers give to each other, they will grow by themselves, persevere even in this harsh condition, even against an unfair society. So, ayun, parang weave niya yung parang queer-ish narrative dun sa gitna na yun. And that's so, and I think it works very well, no? Ayun. Anyway, yun lang. Armando, how about you?
Okay. May message lang ako kay Sis.
What's wrong with you? That's the message.
Hindi.
What's wrong?
Sabi nga isang British royalty. The cheek,
Grabe
the nerve,
naman.
the gall, the audacity, and the
Wow.
gumption.
Point to each his own naman.
Joke lang.
Pero
I mean, I gets.
defend
Biro lang
naman
siya,
why.
biro lang.
Biro
Hindi
lang,
tayo
biro lang
totoo
siya sa-
mag-aaway.
hindi tayo
Okay lang
mag-aaway,
ako. Sanay
Parang
naman
wrestling
akong
lang to.
underdog. Hindi. To be fair naman, it's, yun nga, kagaya ng sabi nyo kanina, stackable yung films. Kahit si Skylab, kahit ganun siya ginawa, alam mo yun, hindi mo siya masasabing pangit na pangit siya. Pero, alam mo yun, for me, same with Henry, hindi ko siya masabing pangit na pangit. It's just that, ewan ko, parang siguro sa akin, the way that some films for you guys, you felt
Yeah.
na parang you've already seen it before, ganun siya. I didn't actually feel na pangit siya. Yun nga mahirap, sabi ko, para ako naman hid, sabi ko, I get the message. Sabi ko, kaso I've already seen this tons and tons of times. What is this trying to tell me? What is this trying to say? Na I should be more empathic? I am empathic. But for somehow, para sa akin, hindi ko alam eh. Parang hindi, yun lang, yun yung term siguro. Namanhid ako sa kanya. So parang, para siyang, parang dito ako na blanco. Tapos I tried watching it again. So, okay. Yeah, o ganyan din yung na-feel ko as, as a working class professional, ganyan. Pero that's it. Hindi ako parang na-enthused or by anything. Actually, ang ganda nga ng review niyo pag binabasa ko siya. Pero parang sa akin talaga, ano ba, made of stone na ba yung puso ko? Kasi parang wala talaga, as in, wala siyang delivering sa akin. So,
Sabi nga ng
yun
isa
lang.
pang queen. Walang ganun, Mars?
Walang ganun. Yun lang naman. Parang ayoko man maging ibang, wala akong makitang pangit sa kanya. Pero at the same time, for me, parang na-overuse lang kasi siya sa akin eh. Alam mo yun, parang ako yung target market niya kasi working class eh. Pero at the same time, sabi ko, okay, para siyang essay for me that I've already read different times over in my entire life. So, yun, kaya ko siya nilagay as the least for me. Kasi, hindi ko naman sinasabing, kailangan magdagdag ka ng gimmick. Pero kasi, it's just the same as City of Flowers. Na may certain sincerity kasi kay City of Flowers. Kaya siya yung pinaka-high ranking, isa sa high ranking for me. Kasi it was very sincere. This was also sincere, but it's just that it's a kind of sincere for me na I've already seen it. So, yun lang. Yun lang.
Armand, your thoughts
Yeah.
about the film?
Sige. Sa akin, like, one of the main things that really stuck out to me is how the film gets so much across with so little. Because I feel like the film, I don't know if you guys agree, the film is a bit more sparse than the other films in the lineup narratively, because it's basically just the main character going to a construction site, asking for financial assistance for his injured brother. That's basically it. No other story no other story of the same substance beyond that. But the way that the film is directed with Kaj's use of yung how he lingers dun sa mga long, parang almost stretched glances ng main character. I don't know who played Henry, but he's I think he has one of the more cinematic faces that I've seen for para siyang younger Carlo Aquino.
Si
Is
Carlos
almost
Dala ba
you.
to? Carlos
Yes,
Dala.
I think. Yeah, yung bushy-browed kid. Basta he has such a cinematic face. And agree ako sa sinabi ni John, but to add to what he said, I feel like it's such a refreshing film to see a protagonist or a main character that's so open uh, to his world. Like I like how he absorbs everything around him. And yung mga pagtingin-tingin niya and observing niya silently kind of reveals this sort of innocence and freedom kahit na in reality yung world ay sobrang cruel and there's no way that he's not privy to that. And I like that he stays that way. Para siyang si Mary Joy Apostol in Birdshot where may certain innocence pa rin yung with like the way he is in the film. Tapos what I like then is ang refreshing na hindi parang walang takot yung film to show male affection kahit platonic man or romantic, because in other films I feel they would be pressured to to discern what it means, but here it's just two boys showing empathy and empathy towards another. Yun nga, sinabi ni John Tausil, spoiler alert, parang this act of kindness, hindi siya question. Because in other films, I feel like it would have been, it would have had suggestion of something romantic or something sensual, especially when Henry brings the pot of flowers. So I feel like it's such a refreshing thing lang to see na yung male affection ay hindi masyadong tinatago. In fact, I would argue maybe it is the point that Henry is so open to the world and absorbs everything with such light and maybe grace in word. I feel like that the film sort of just clicks for me. So it was such a refreshing watch na hindi siya kagaya ng ibang films na alam mo yun, may pressure to determine what is going on between these two men, because I feel like that's such an easy thing to market, diba? Whereas this Kaj is obviously a queer filmmaker coming off of Contestant Number 4, another film that relies on like the silences and the glances. There was one scene in that short film that wherein this older character knows exactly where the pains of this younger character, sort of implying that they are the same person and they share the same hardships and yes, such a cinematic face. Yes. Wait, natawa pa ako. Yun. So implying that they are the same character, they share the same pains, they yield the same pains off of the earth. So I'm just a big fan of that kind of storytelling. I don't know the thoughts of others, but this is also my favorite film out of the entire thing.
Yes, but this is the
Sorry ang daldal ko.
yung sound na nag-appear kami. Charot. Jim or Jason, anyone want to volunteer? Sige, Jim muna, Jim.
Ako muna, sorry. Short lang naman. Nagustuhan ko itong Henry. Actually, while watching it, di ba nabanggit mo nga sa GC na parang mas napuko yung attention ko with Danilo. Not with Henry, sorry. Ganon. Maybe because I was able to relate kay Henry. Ganon. Kasi parang, for me, while watching it, sorry, baka it sounded like apology, no? But I saw myself, or I saw my younger self with Henry. Ganon. No? So, aside from that, ang daming layer na pinipil ng Henry. Kasi at first, di ba, nandun yung oppression. And then, the second part, there's a repression. 'Diba? Ayun. So, nakakatuwa kasi Arman discuss yung male affection, no? Kasi totoo yun eh. Parang if it was marketed no way na it's a queer film, madali siyang anuhin, ibenta. But then here, ang nakakatuwa dito, dun mo makikita yung sincerity ng filmmaker because na-translate well yung male affection na hindi tawag dito hindi laging parang with malice. Ganon. Tapos, ano pa ba? Wait, iniisip ko pa. Ang dami ko naiisip with Henry. Nakakatuwa siya kasi 'di ba yung ginagawa yung bahay. Okay, gets ko siya na pandemic kasi kaya konti lang, 'di ba? Dalawa lang si Danilo sa si Henry. Pero ako iniisip ko, what if, ewan ko lang ako lang naman to. What if kaya dalawa lang yung character, si Danilo lang yung pinapakita kasi maybe it's also a longing of Henry to connect with his brother. Kasi may ganun akong may ganun akong what if is this true or not? Ganon. Or is this imagination of Henry? Ako lang naman. Yun.
Ang ganda ng ang ganda ng perspective.
Kaya ang ganda nung ginawa ni Kaj na walang other construction worker, si Danilo lang, 'di ba? Ayun. So impressed na rin naman ako kay Kaj Palangka with contestant number 4. Naganda na ako dun sa contestant number 4. And this maganda din yun. And in fairness, may budget kasi CMB Services. Yun lang.
Also, just want to add how if you've watched contestant number 4, I feel like this is a step forward with the types of films that Catch in my book is trying to make, because I feel this is like a larger picture than C number 4, which is a bit more more individual, more personal, because it's about it's a weird coming of age story because the one who comes of age in one sense is an elder guy.
Jason, your thoughts on
Sorry, ubos pa rin ako dun sa Skylab.
Your thoughts on Skylab again? Joke lang.
No. I liked Henry. I thought that it has a lot to say about space. Maybe that's also how I generally just read films. It's like obviously, like Henry stares up at the sky. At home, wala siyang sky na titignan kasi it's cement walls. In this new home, he has a whole view, diba? And that reveals a lot about class anxiety, obviously. The film opens on class anxiety. Actually, tuwang-tuwa ako na merong pelikula ulit na nag-discuss ng class anxieties so upfront like this again. But at the same time, wala siyang class guilt. Does that make sense? Like, feeling ko yung act of Henry giving the flower, for example, that's not because feeling niya guilty siya, but he kind of wants to return some aspect. Parang it's gratitude. That's what it feels like. And I really like the film. Nalala ko may isang nag-comment before, I forgot who, na parang hindi siya masyadong naniniwala siya sa syudad ng Henry as much. Parang mas naniniwala pa daw siya dun sa syudad na na-construct ng Mighty Robo V. Which is to a certain extent, parang, like, where is Henry? Parang, I mean, like, what is this kind of landscape kung saan pinipaint itong kwento na to? Like, I don't know if I'm able to kind of identify it, but I'm also not as bothered by it. Obviously, merong references to like Abbas Kiarostami's like close up, ganon, yung flowers, ganon. And I feel like maybe this is just an observation. I feel like people who've seen Kaj's previous work or are familiar with Kaj will probably understand this a lot more. Maybe it's also because the film itself, according to Kaj, is like very personal. So it was just a film that just needed to get done. His words, not mine. So yun, I like the film a lot. Actually, yung top 2 spots ko, parang yung last part ko, yun yung talagang hindi mo siya nang change. Pero parang everything in between, parang yun yung constantly in flux. And yeah, I do like him. I do like him. Yeah. Sorry.
All right. So with that said, those are the 6 Q Cinema shorts that we talked about.
To be continued.
Listen to all Third World Cinema Club episodes now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcast from.
We'd love to take this experience with you through our socials. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook as Third World Cinema Club and on Instagram through Film Police Reviews. Please do send us a feedback or a wish list of the guests you'd like to have on the show through hello@filmpolicereviews.com.